have to say, over the years, the opening of this particular place has garnered more interest, more likes, more shares on Facebook, more general enthusiasm than some factories that we've opened up with, that employ hundreds of people, and it's a real tribute to the brand and to this establishment. So. A word about what's happened here. So over the course of the last several years, we have worked very hard to utilize every square inch of the waterfront. We have a waterfront that is successful, America's top commercial fishing port, as we all know, and we've tried to make sure that we've taken all of the above approach to enhancing what we do here and utilizing all these assets so as to create jobs for our residents, to generate tax revenue, to generate revenue for the Port Authority, to do all those things, to be successful, to generate spin-off businesses. And so what that has meant is all of the above approaches, understanding where things can go and where things shouldn't go. And we noticed that there's a lot of other businesses that could work very well here on the waterfront, in addition to fishing, in addition to cargo, in addition to ferry service and all that, and they can complement one another. And that's really the story behind all this. We are at Pier 3 in the central waterfront, sort of the heart and soul of the commercial fishing industry in America's largest commercial fishing port. This is a pier that my relatives fish from, a pier that so many others over the years have fished from. And it is proudly so, but we want to make sure that we bring people to this place so everybody can see what the fishing industry does, because in the long run, that is what is going to support the fishing industry, which operates in one of the most regulated industries there is in the United States, right? So that's the idea. And so what we've done is we've opened up this pier to development for folks in a way that will lead to folks coming down here. And so just in the last few years, as we've seen, we've had enormously successful restaurants be developed. I want to ask one of our speakers is here can speak right to that. That's Steve Silverstein, who's right there. You're going to hear from him in a moment. But Steve's restaurants have been hugely successful here. The Black Whale, the Whale's Tail, right next to us, and there is, and now there's this, which is a subletting by Steve to Mirasol's, which I'll say a word about in a second. Of course, Acushnet Creamery, really the only ice cream store, purveyor of ice cream in Greater New Bedford that makes its own ice cream, at least at scale, right? So they've done a great job and they have an enormously popular product. The result is that people have come down here, not just from the city, but far and wide, and it is a very busy place and continues to grow. And so we're seeing enormous growth up and down the waterfront, and this is what we've been trying to promote. We can be many things here in New Bedford, and this is really the Port of New Bedford is really the centerpiece of this entire region of southeastern Massachusetts. If it weren't for the port, if it weren't for what happens here, all of southeastern Massachusetts, frankly, would be farmland. This area exists. This is an urban area because of the port, and the more that we can parlay what happens here into other businesses that spin off, the better off our residents will be in the long run, the more sustainable city we'll have in the long run. So what we're talking about today is all of that piece, right? It fits in to the overall strategy that has been supported by the Port Authority, that has been supported by the City Council as well, and you'll hear from City Council President Ian Abreu in a second. And it's been supported by the fishing industry as well. So we're very excited about what you guys are about to do here, Louis. And so Mirasol's really speaks for itself. It is, you guys, I always said that Mirasol basically prints money in North Dartmouth on State Road. That you guys are just so successful, have such a great following, such a great brand, and you have a great brand because you sell great products. People love your food. They love those chippies that get, all of us, even adults, hyperactive, and that you are moving to the central waterfront, not moving, but expanding to the central waterfront, speaks so well to your success. It also speaks so well to the success of the Port of New Bedford, and so the product is available already this morning, which is great. But I wanted to say, Louis, thank you. Louis Raposa, by the way, the owner of Mirasol's Cafe, now Mirasol's Cafe Express. So you guys have done such a great job taking over for Rich, and now taking the business to the proverbial next level. And we're proud here in the Port of New Bedford to be part of that. There's a lot of folks to thank. I want to thank the Port Authority and the Port Authority Commission for all of their support. Which they get it. This is a place that Pier 3 that can be many things, and we want to continue on with this sort of thing down the street to State Pier in the years ahead. It speaks volumes about the Commission's willingness to take some risks, and so I want to thank all the commissioners. The Commission itself, the Port Authority, is represented by our Blair Bailey, who did a great deal of work. He's the General Counsel for the Port Authority. He was here today to help facilitate this subletting. The building here has a long history with the Port of New Bedford. This was a WPA project built by Mayor Ashley in the 30s. It became the fish auction, became the Wharfinger building. The Wharfinger is the guy who runs the wharf. And then it became the fish auction for about 40 years, up until the 80s, until Base New England, the Bedford Seafood Display Auction was established, and it's gone from there. And this has served as a tourist facility ever since then, and it'll continue to do that. You'll see the exhibitry is still in place that will tell the story of the Port of New Bedford, and so that's something that Amy DeRozier, our Assistant Director of Tourism and Marketing, has worked very ably on as well. I want to thank the City Council for their support in approving the lease, and Ian will speak to that in a second. This is also an area that is governed by what's called Chapter 91 under state law, which is, to make it real simple, if there's stuff that needs to be permitted and it's kind of near the water, kind of near the traditional line where the original water line was before all this was built out, the state has a say over it. And this was not without controversy at the state level. Certainly no controversy here, but I want to thank the members of our state delegation, certain members of our state delegation, for being supportive. Tony Cabral, Chris Hendricks, and I'll call them up in a second, were very supportive. Senator Montigny was very supportive. Representative Schmidt, as well as Representative Markey, all supportive of this project. I want to thank them for being there and helping facilitate the permitting of this place, which was so important. The last thing I want to say is, before I introduce, I'm going to start with Tony and Chris, and then actually I'll go with Louis. I think you're the owner. We're going to go with you next in the program. But before I call you up, I just want to say thanks to everybody who supported this. All of this can work really well, and more of this can happen on our waterfront without interfering, without compromising the competitiveness of any of our existing maritime uses. We've done a lot of planning to make that happen, and so I just want to thank everybody for the public discussion that's been going on for a few years now about how this port can continue to thrive in the years ahead. So with all that, I want to call Louis Raposo up to say a few words about his business, which again needs no introduction in Greater New Bedford. You guys have really made your mark already. And Louis, I just want to thank you for what you've done. I have a proclamation here today for you, and I hand you this and then hand you the mic.
But I think that's mine.
Oh, does this say yours?
That's mine, Mr. Mayor.
Ours is in the mail then. So then I'll go ahead. Yeah, good thing you caught me. So I want to thank you for your entrepreneurship, your confidence in the waterfront, and ask you to come on up and say a few words.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're very excited about making our first expansion in New Bedford. We can't think of a better place to come to. It's a very unique building, and there's so many people to thank along the way, and this is very quick, and it required all hands on deck. The city was super responsive, helpful. Steve Silverstein for even talking to me and working out a deal, and the opportunity and being supportive and the advice. And my director of operations, Ray Delaire, who I couldn't have done this without, and a great general contractor, Vasco Construction, who did a phenomenal job and with extreme deadlines right to 8 o'clock last night. So, we're just excited about this new chapter for us, and we can't think of a better place to be. And I think it brings great brands together in the same space. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to call up Tony Cabral and Chris Hendricks just to say a few words. We really appreciate the support that both of these reps applied to this permitting process. They've bought in fully to the idea that, as we've discussed with them over the years, that our waterfront can be a whole lot of different things, and that in order to maximize its value, careful planning and coordination is necessary, and that's what we've got from them. So, Tony, if you want to say a few words, this is your district after all.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning. Well, good afternoon already. See, I'm still thinking of the initial this morning. But anyway, this is wonderful. I congratulate also, Mirasol for being here and making this move and the expansion. This is exciting news. I mean, along with the clam shack here in the back, Steve always has a vision of things. It's nice to have Steve involved here with us as well. From day one, we thought this was a great, the state needed to really come around and provide the permitting needed for the expansion, not only here, but also of the clam shack as well. And the other good news is really there is this thing called an RFP out for the state pier. And hopefully, as you know, in legislation, we created about 20% on this side of the state pier for multi-use, multi-development. So we hope once that RFP comes back that we have some interesting proposals to expand this kind of activity here along the water, and to complement, of course, on the other side of 18 downtown. So congratulations. I'm glad you are here, and hopefully we'll welcome others in the future once the RFP comes back. Thank you.
Mr. Raposo, I just want to congratulate you and everyone else at Mirasol's Cafe. I know full well your restaurant, your store in Dartmouth. When I was in law school at UMass, I would go there almost every day and get a chippy. So, and I actually deliberately did not drink any coffee today, knowing that I would come here. So I'm itching to get a chippy today. I know a lot about the waterfront. I worked at Cork, bartended there for about 10 years. I opened the place with Jay Lanning, Rich Cardoza back then as the bartender. So I know about the importance of being on the waterfront and being the importance of the tourism that comes in, and you being a part of this effort is just awesome. So congratulations, and thank you to the city and Mayor Mitchell and Ian Abreu and the rest of the city council and my delegation and the State House delegation for all the work they've done on this. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Next up, I'd like to call Ian Abreu, City Council President, to say a few words. Ian has been very helpful in supporting these types of efforts, and we do, and especially with a building like this, which is city-owned, to facilitate the leasing of the facility so that it can go, things like this can go forward. So another element of government and private sector coordination that helped make this happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Who's ready for a chippy? All right. I am as well. Chris, you stole my thunder. I was going to say that I was waiting, and so thank you to Chris. I'm not stealing your line. I was going to say that.
We're all waiting, I think.
We're all waiting with bated breath. It's my pleasure to be here again. My name is Ian Abreu. I'm the New Bedford City Council President, and it's my honor to be here today to help cut this ribbon. As someone of Portuguese descent who's an equal opportunity coffee drinker, it's glad to have another coffee shop, breakfast spot here in the downtown. Walking distance from my office, walking distance from City Hall, so you and your staff will be seeing a lot of me, I would venture a guess. Look, I know life gets in the way and life gets quick, and sometimes we want to grab and go and we want to grab a quick coffee, and there's nothing wrong with going at a local franchise coffee shop here in the city or in the area, go through the drive-through and go on your way. But I got to tell you, if you've got the time please consider stopping off at a local coffee shop like this. If you can, you get out of your car, you come in, you're greeted by a smiling face, and you're supporting local. You're supporting a small business. And that's what this is all about, and that's what we're celebrating here today. I don't know if you folks know this, but statistics have been proven nationally through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, through other agencies, that when you spend your money at a local small business like a Mirasol's, 60 cents on every dollar is reinfused back into the local economy, meaning local wages and salaries, local procurement of products and goods, taxes and so forth, and fees. So think about that when you want to get that cup of coffee and you've got a couple of extra minutes. Please consider supporting the great folks like Louis and his team at Mirasol's. And we talk about the chippy, which is obviously a great product, but everything you make is special here. And I'm glad I don't have to drive to Dartmouth and spend my money in Dartmouth anymore. So that's even an extra feather in the cap. If you'd like to come forward, my friend, I have an official New Bedford City Council proclamation for you. The New Bedford City Council official resolution, be it hereby known to all that the City Council of New Bedford, Massachusetts hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Mirasol's Cafe Express in recognition of your grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony. The entire citizenry extends its very best wishes to you on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune given on this, the first day of July, 2022, by the Ward 4 Councilor, Derek Baptiste. This is his ward. He couldn't make it, but he sends his regrets. And by myself, New Bedford City Council President Ian Abreu. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ian. All right, last up, I want to call up somebody who's made a lot happen in a very short period of time up and down the waterfront in New Bedford, and that's our good friend Steve Silverstein, who I don't know if you knew he was speaking today, but he's dressed like he just came from Cisco. That's okay. You fit the part, Steve. But we're just so appreciative that Steve has brought his expertise back to New Bedford. He launched the very successful, hugely successful Not Your Average Joe's chain of restaurants 20 years ago that he is now divested from almost entirely, not entirely, but and now he's making it happen in New Bedford. And what he saw just a few short years ago is that there's value here. As a businessman, as someone who loves this area, as someone who's fourth generation Silverstein doing business in New Bedford, he recognized the potential, not just recognized the potential, but acted on it. And now we're realizing it. And so, Steve, we're so grateful for what you've built, and in this case, what you have facilitated, because you are the matchmaker of sorts. You're the lessee on this building, and you're subleasing it to Mirasol's, but you made that deal happen, and we're all going to be the more caffeinated for it. So, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All the credit really goes to the mayor because he facilitated. He drew the master plan, and I'm just filling in some of the dots that he's created, and he facilitated all of this. The truth is that of all the restaurants I've opened in my career, which I think about 38 now, that the Black Whale is the single greatest thing that I ever did, and I couldn't have done it without the mayor and a lot of other people's support. I always had a vision for a clam shack. Those remember McCrae's. I don't know if it was in Westport or Dartmouth, but out there on Route 6. I just had very fond memories of McCrae's, and I wanted to create a clam shack. When this property came up with an RFP, I was very excited, and the minimum bid was $1,200. That was the minimum bid. Well, I said, I'm going to win this thing, and I know somebody's going to bid, and they're going to probably double it. So I went double plus $50 is what I did, and I was the only one who bid. So anyway, but anyway, we won it, and I'm really happy. Part of the vision that I documented to the city for this property was that I would do a cafe, because we really felt it needed to have a cafe. The mayor felt it needed a cafe, and some morning element down here on the pier. And through COVID, it sat idle, like, what are we going to do? And then I started thinking about it, and I said, there's a real home run hitter in this market, and that's Mirasol's. There's no way that I could do better. And so Louis and I started talking, and it's really miraculous what they're able to do in such a short period of time. I do want to be known for the record. I make no money on this deal. It's completely a transfer. But there is a great benefit to the city because Luis is essentially on a percentage rent. So a percentage of his revenue goes back to the city. So this is really a win-win-win-win. It's really a great situation. I'm so excited. I think you did a beautiful job inside. You really nailed it, and I think it's all great. Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, now we've got a ribbon to cut. All right, paparazzi's ready. All right, so we'll do it on 3. 1, 2. Now it's open. It wasn't open this morning. Now it's open.
We kept it closed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.